and good afternoon. I'm Ted Langdell. It is 7:57, almost 8 o'clock, about 76 degrees outside here. We are at the corner of Marysville Road and Scott Grant Road in what is the curve that comes up from the valley. And for the last several hours, actually, for at least since we first came up here, there has been this traffic hazard in the curve. It's something that people will come up on fairly quickly and not necessarily be able to see. And the problem that you can see here is that in order for people to get by going eastbound, that's the direction of travel this camper was going, the people have to get into the westbound lane like that trailer with the Yamaha label on it. So Yuba County Sheriff is now here. CHP showed up just before we went live, and this particular problem has existed for quite a while, but it should be gone in just a few minutes. You can hear the sound of a flatbed truck coming from B&K, and we'll show you what happens right here. Again, this is in the curve at Marysville Road and Scott Grant Road, and the problem that happens here is this is right in that long straightaway that occurs when you're coming from Peoria Road, and people get going real fast. Sometimes they're even passing each other, as you can see here. And when they come into this curve here, it can be a very hazardous situation. That's what I encountered when I came up going to the Alcoff Center. They come into this corner and it becomes a bit of a problem. As you can see here at Scott Grant Road, there's the CHP with its lights on. This is the pickup truck that lost the camper. And this is what happened to the camper when it slid out the back and dropped onto the ground right in the curve here. B&K Towing on LaPorte Road in Brownsville is in the process of trying to get this lifted up and out of the way, but it looks like it's going to be a little while for that to happen. Meantime, traffic is backing up as that goes on. This is the first time I've actually seen any traffic stop here, and I'm not sure that that was what the CHP officer had intended to have happen, but it is for people's safety, and that's good. Because westbound traffic can't really see until they come around the corner either. This is eastbound traffic going up the hill from Browns Valley towards Loma Rica Road and Stanfield Hill and Collins Lake. So we'll give you a look here. Again, the wide shot, that's Scott Grant Road off to the right. CHP officer looks like he's letting people know it's a good idea to kind of hang here. And as you can see, the issue here is traffic coming westbound, and it looks as though what's going to happen is the CHP officer is going to park here and try to make sure that oncoming traffic knows there's a problem, and they're going to let these cars go by. We're going to move up a little bit out of the way and also give you an idea of what's happening here. This camper is going to be pretty severely damaged. By the time it gets on that flatbed. Traffic coming up, and now stopping. This is looking east, or I should say looking west, down Marysville Road into that long straightaway that people can get going very fast in. And you see this corner that they come back through. And here is the camper that is being the traffic hazard. We'll stick with this as the traffic hazard. The camper gets cleared up onto the flatbed here. We were up about passing through here about 6:30, just after this particular incident had occurred, and traffic was moving quite quickly. Here comes another car coming westbound, and hopefully he's been able to slow down. Yes, this guy is doing what's a good idea. Hit your flashers. Warn other people that you are slowing down and that there's a hazard that you're aware of. Get other people to identify that there's a problem. So the tow truck operator is going to try to winch this unwheeled vehicle or unwheeled camper onto the back of the flatbed trailer, or flatbed truck rather, in order to be able to get this out of the roadway and get clear. The camper itself is almost all the way into the shoulder lane there, but some of it is still sticking out over the fog line. And of course the truck that's trying to unload or trying to load this up is out into the eastbound lane, and as you can see, that truck has to cross over the double yellow line in order to be able to get clear. So there's a very definite hazard here. If you are coming up into the foothills, planning on traveling from Browns Valley up towards Challenge or Brownsville, Dobbins, Oregon House, this is what you're going to run into at Scott Grant Road and Marysville Road. And it looks as though he's going to try to use the camper's tie downs to help get the vehicle up and out of the way. CHP now parked on this side of the highway to alert people that are coming up the hill as well as down the hill. And there's another batch of cars coming this way, as you can see from way down there. And cars coming this direction can get going very fast in that straightaway. Sometimes they pass each other at high rates of speed. And we'll switch back over here. As the winching begins. Again, this is Marysville Road at Scott Grant Road. There's a private road called Thurs Drive, I think it is, or Thurs Trail, that goes off to the east. This is the eastbound direction of Marysville Road. CHP is on the other side of his vehicle there, directing traffic, slowing people or stopping people. You can see him through the car there, either waving people on. Well, he moved. And we have some more cars coming down the hill, including what looks like, is that the Sheriff's Department boat? Yes, it is. That was up at the Alcoff Center. The Marine Division of the Sheriff's Department does quite a lot of amazing stuff, ranging from patrolling for people going too fast on our local lakes. Now here's something coming down the hill. Somebody looks like they have acquired the help of a neighbor and a bucket loader on a Massey Ferguson tractor. The truck that this camper slid off of is now parked over here on Thurs Trail. CHP officer directing traffic from the travel lane side of his Chevrolet Tahoe vehicle here at the corner of Scott Grant Road and Marysville Road. So blocks of wood being used in part to help jack up the front end of this particular loose recreational vehicle here. I'm Ted Langdell. You're watching Live Streaming YS. And tractor is perhaps going to try to pick up the back end of this. Or you can see a bucket loader on the front end. This traffic hazard has been here for about at least 90 minutes. It was here at 6:30 when we came by. It's now 8:11 p.m. on Thursday, May 19th, 2021. 2022, excuse me. I don't know what year it is, do I? So the gentlemen are using the back end of the flatbed to try to lift up and get some additional support under the camper. Situations like this call for a lot of creativity on the part of the tow truck drivers and some of the other people that may be called in to assist. The people here in the Yuba County foothills seem to know how to do some of these unexpected things. Give you a little perspective. Again, we're on Marysville Road. This is the eastbound lane going to the left, the way the tow truck is facing. And cars are coming down westbound down Marysville Road. The CHP officer having to holler stop to the traffic that was coming eastbound rather. There's a blue, looks like a Hyundai of some kind. This has been a hazard for more than an hour and a half. Right here in the curve where it's difficult to see and people come eastbound heading up the hill towards Collins Lake at a high rate of speed. And they can come around the corner that you see here at a high rate of speed as well. Fortunately, it's a little easier to see this particular camper that's in the eastbound edge of the travel lane, coming westbound. CHP on scene, waving the eastbound traffic through now, but this officer's having to keep an eye on the westbound traffic and make sure that people get slowed down. CHP officers come out on calls like this and they don't always know what they're going to run into. And neither do tow truck operators, like the gentleman at the controls of this flatbed from B&K Towing in LaPorte Road in Brownsville, which is further up the hill. And as you can see, they've got some blocks under the far side there. And they're trying to ease the front end of this up onto the flatbed so they can try sliding it. And I think what's going to happen is the gentleman with the yellow Massey Ferguson tractor here is going to try to pick up the back end and help it along a little bit. We'll see what happens as these cars continue to go by. This is not the safest of situations to be in. Several things could happen aside from a collision. That cable that you see attached to a chain could snap, hit somebody in the face and body parts. And we're going to watch as the tractor attempts to pick up the back end. As traffic continues to go by here on Marysville Road at Scott Grant Road. And here comes Callie's Kitchen, down from the Be Prepared event in Robinson, Oregon House. So the bucket on this tractor is at a bit of an angle. And a little coordination between the tow truck driver and his assistant, and I'm Ted Langdell, and we are at the corner of Scott Grant Road and Marysville Road, where this traffic hazard has been in existence for going on 2 hours now. It was here when we came by, and CHP is now on site directing traffic. Took them a while to get here from down in the valley. Let's go back to watching the action here. In case you're wondering where we are, we're at Marysville Road at Scott Grant Road in Browns Valley, where this traffic hazard has been partially blocking the eastbound lanes, the uphill, if you will, lanes of Marysville Road, in what is a bit of a dangerous situation, especially in the dark as sunset looms here. This is the curve that comes from that nice straightaway stretch. For those of you that know the hills and know these roads, but westbound traffic would come around that corner and encounter eastbound traffic coming up along this long straightaway that you may remember from traveling up in the foothills here. And as that traffic encounters this curve here, it's almost a blind corner. You don't see this obstruction until you're almost on it. And that can create a hazard because westbound traffic is trying to occupy the westbound lane, and in order to get by this obstruction, eastbound traffic has to get into the westbound lane. What's interesting is it looks as though there is a light on the side of the camper here, indicating there's a live battery inside. Of course, this camper also would likely have propane tanks to fuel the stove and a space heater. It apparently just slid off the pickup truck that's over here. That's the one with the flashing lights on it right over there. So it looks as though what the gentleman here trying to do is get the camper jack out of the way, because it's been on the ground. And if they can get it out of the way, they're going to be more successful at getting the camper to slide up onto, or further onto the flatbed trailer bed. As darkness approaches, we've got another, this is the curve at Scott Grant and Marysville Road. And coming up Marysville Road, you'll see some lights in just a minute or two, or less, coming along that long downhill straightaway. Looks like a motorcyclist and a string of cars. This is the awkward situation as people approach from the west going eastbound. CHP officer waving them on as he looks up the hill to make sure there isn't any traffic. And our tow truck driver and a local neighbor assisting, trying to get this camper's bent camper jack out of the way. It looks like they're having to use some open-end wrenches to take the whole thing off if they can. Not exactly how you may have anticipated your vacation trip to go. Hello there, Pamela White. We see you are watching from somewhere. And I think this is one of the people who were involved with the truck. Someone has come up with some cones in an effort to try to warn oncoming traffic and guide them further away from the vehicle. This particular camper has been on the ground here for at least 2 hours. It was here about 6:30 when we came by. It's now 8:26 in the afternoon. Marysville Road at Scott Grant Road in Browns Valley. Hey, what else you got to do on a Thursday evening but watch Yuba-Sutter.live, live streaming YS, and Ted Langell's Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Officer, how's your arm doing?
We're doing good so far.
Okay, looks like they have succeeded in getting the other camper jack where they're attempting to loosen it, and it looks like they're getting some success in getting the passenger side camper jack off. And that should allow them to slide the camper more easily onto the flatbed tow truck. Things that tow truck drivers get called on to do, and sometimes neighbors are able to assist. In this case, with a Massey Ferguson tractor that came down Therese Trail, driven by a gentleman we believe is a neighbor. And our CHP officer directing traffic, which is now down to one lane. We have and now the eastbound traffic gets to go through slowly in one lane, up the hill and around the corner. So now our tow truck operator looks like he's ready to begin trying to winch this thing up. One of the dangers here is that that cable could snap, given that this camper has no wheels on it, so it's all friction on the flatbed as well as the back end. Cars are going to continue to go by here while this process is underway. CHP yelling at this driver with no windows open to slow down, which the gentleman did not do. Very slowly, with a lot of tension on that cable. Tow truck operator carefully working from the safer side of the truck, and also trying to get the flatbed up. As you can see, if he can get the flatbed up a little bit further under the flat part of the camper, it may slide a little easier. Again, this is the scene at Marysville Road and Scott Grant Road in Browns Valley, right in a curve that's on either side of a couple of places where people can get up to a good speed. This camper being dragged on its butt. Ever so slowly. And then the challenge is going to be trying to get the part that hangs over the back of the tailgate and bumper up onto the flatbed. That may be where this yellow tractor comes into play. The neighbor that owns it now getting on and looking like he's going to start it up and try to see if he can get the bucket underneath. Sun going down pretty quickly here. It's 8:33. You're watching Yuba-Sutter.live, live streaming on Facebook at Facebook Live Streaming YS. So the question is, can the use of this tractor bucket get the back end of this camper up and onto the ton of the flatbed trailer? Cars continuing to go by. There's a curve that way and a long straightaway and a curve down that way.
The whole thing over?
CHP on site directing traffic. It's been here for probably 45 minutes or so. And let's watch what happens when the tractor tries to get the bucket under the back end of the camper. One of the problems may be that camper jack over on the passenger side by the lady that's standing over there. And he may be successful at getting it up. If you're just joining us, this is at Marysville Road at Scott Grant Road in Browns Valley. I'm Ted Langdell, Yuba-Sutter.live on Facebook.com, live streaming YS, and my personal Facebook page and our YouTube channel. This is a traffic hazard that's existed for at least 2 hours now. It was here about 6:30 when we came up the hill. And what they are trying to do here with the bucket on this tractor is to get under the back end of the camper and lift it up. One of the problems is if it skews over towards the ditch, they've got a bit of a problem there, and it looked like it was tipping that way. The other issue that can be a problem is the cable that's attached to the front end of that. And as you can see, the tractor operator here, a neighbor we understand, is trying to get under the right hand or the passenger side rear corner and be able to keep it from sliding in the direction of the ditch, because the crown of the road goes over towards that side. So let's see what happens. And it looks like he's also trying to force it up on there. We'll zoom back a little bit, let you see what's going on. The cable now is slacked. There is no tension on the cable from the tow truck. It looks like the operator is trying to apply a little tension now just to make sure this thing has some level of control. There it is, there's the tension. As the tractor operator has the bucket under the right rear corner of the camper, trying to stabilize it and keep it from sliding off the flatbed. It looks like a good part of that rear part of the camper is on the flatbed. Cars are continuing to go by here in the dark, well, almost dark. And we see that the battery in this camper is still on. As you can see from the light, campers like this often will have propane tanks for propane stoves, water heaters, refrigerators, and space heaters. And they're generally required to keep them shut off when traveling. I don't know what the law is at this point. I'm Ted Langdell, and we were coming back from the Alcoff Center. We had seen this particular traffic hazard going up the hill to do some live streaming from the Be Prepared event that was going on, sponsored by Yuba County Office of Emergency Services, and saw this as we went by. It apparently had just happened not long before we passed by, about 6:30. It's now 8:40, and they're working on getting this resolved. But it's likely to be dark before that happens. Looks like they're considering what to do over on the far side of the camper here. Looks like the tow truck operator is going to use a large 4x4, maybe about a 3-foot 4x4, as something to rest the back end of this camper on, as give it something that it can slide on. This is the first time we've done live streaming in a darkening situation like this, so it'll be interesting to see what our iPhone 13 Pros are able to do. We've been here streaming for just now 45 minutes. This camper was on the back end of an eastbound pickup truck as the pickup went through this curve here on Marysville Road at Scott Grant Road. And for reasons I've not yet had time to investigate, the camper just appears to have slid off the back of the truck and come to rest on the eastbound shoulder of the road, with a little bit of it sticking out in the travel lane. And that's been causing traffic hazard ever since. Part of the hazard is there's a curve this way, and people can come around that curve at a high rate of speed, and they frequently do. And going in the other direction, if you are looking, we are now looking westbound. Cars come up the straightaway at a very high rate of speed, and normally don't expect to have something like this obstructing the travel lane they're in and requiring them to go over into the opposing lane. Again, this camper's been in this situation without the benefit of the tow truck since about 6:30. Tow truck's been on scene for a little more than 45 minutes. Tow truck driver and other people have been working on trying to get it out of the roadway here. Now the tractor has been supporting the right rear corner, passenger side rear corner, and it's now pulled back. And we're not sure what the tow truck operator is planning on doing, but it looks as though he's gotten some straps from the driver's side compartment behind the truck. And I'm thinking maybe they are going to try to use the straps to perhaps attach to the tractor and use the bucket in some way to lift it up with the aid of the straps. Don't know. We shall see, as long as our battery and the light holds out. We are not lighting this. This is entirely natural light as the sun goes down over the Coast Range. They've had to remove the front camper jacks that would ordinarily be used to support the camper on the ground, keep it up above the bed of the truck. CHP directing traffic here as it gets darker and darker. It looks as though the straps are going to go over the top of the camper in an effort to keep it stabilized. You can see that they've thrown one of the straps over the top, and I think the intention is to try to keep it from rocking off of the flatbed here. Whoever invented ratchet straps deserves some kind of an award, because I've used them for all kinds of things in moving things, strapping them down. They're really quite handy. tying off the ratchet strap over the front part of the camper here. You're watching Yuba-Sutter.live on Facebook.com, live streaming YS, and on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is only a number. CHP directing traffic here, trying to make sure that since there's just a single lane of travel available, that eastbound and westbound vehicles don't meet unexpectedly. So westbound traffic is being held at Scott Grant Road or eastbound travel, while the westbound vehicles you see passing by here are able to pass by this camper in the roadway, and now eastbound traffic is being allowed through. It's one lane at a time, or one direction at a time. Some discussion about what to do being made among the various people assisting in trying to get this out of the roadway. Tow truck driver that you see in the reflective cross straps and the black shirt. The neighbor with the tractor, on the tractor, and I think the lady in the blue jeans and dark shirt has some connection to the camper itself. Now they've strapped the camper down with two big, probably 2-inch canvas ratchet straps. See what the tow truck operator is doing up here on the roof. He may be checking to see where the straps go, and it looks like they're trying to route them through the little retaining CHP hollering at somebody who is not paying attention. That might be the guy who was yelling at in that vehicle. You get an idea of how heavily traveled Marysville Road is, even on a Thursday evening at 8:51 in the darkening here. And as you can see, they've arranged the strap on the back of the camper so that it is on the tongue of the truck, the flatbed portion there. And it may be that he's going to try to get that flatbed more level and also try to winch it more forward on the flatbed. But the idea here seems to be to secure the camper from tipping off of the flatbed as they do any further movement. If you're just joining us, we are up in the Yuba County foothills in the Browns Valley area at Marysville Road at the corner of Scott Grant Road, where two sweeping curves are creating more of a traffic hazard as a result of this camper having slid off the back of a pickup truck about 2.5 hours or so ago and came to rest on the shoulder portion of the eastbound lanes. A neighbor's tractor is being pressed into service here. CHP has been on scene for about, I think, 90 minutes now. So 56 minutes into our live stream here. Looks like there might be some more ratchet straps being employed. Here is the danger. People coming around this corner at a relatively high rate of speed, and the CHP is going to yell at the ambulance going by, or maybe not. And the third ratchet strap is going over the top. And cranking down on that ratchet strap is the owner of the Massey Ferguson 500 tractor that you see part of here in this picture. He's been able to use the bucket to lift up the right-hand corner, and now it looks as though the flatbed is going to slide onto the chassis of the truck and level out a bit. There it goes. And it looks as though he's got enough room at the front to be able to have the entire camper solidly on the frame with the weight distributed well enough. It's taken him about an hour to get this far. Good creative work by the tow truck driver and the people helping to try to lift up something that doesn't have wheels and get it onto the flatbed portion of the tow truck here. Cars continue to come down the hill, passing by hopefully at a safe rate of speed, and traffic stacking up going eastbound from a straightaway into this curve here, and that's been the dangerous part of this mishap. As we approach 8:57 on a Thursday evening, May 19th, I'm Ted Langdell. We are at the corner of Marysville Road at Scott Grant Road in Yuba County's foothills, the Browns Valley area, where this particular camper slid off the back of a pickup truck for some reason and landed in the roadway, creating a traffic hazard that's been going on since about a little before 6:30, we understand. And for the last hour, you've been watching live on live streaming YS on Facebook. It's facebook.com/livestreaming-ys, and also on our YouTube channel and on my personal Facebook page. If you're interested in having more live streaming happening in Yuba-Sutter, we're interested in doing that for you, and we could use your support. If you look in the bottom of the text portion of the Facebook pages or the YouTube channel below the video, you'll find some links that you can use to help support our activities. We don't ordinarily cover news like this unless we happen on it or it's something big, and we go out to make sure that you're able to get accurate information and good visuals while something's going on. For news stories that require a bit of explaining to do, we do that as part of our government live streaming. But this sort of thing that we do is largely unsponsored. We do get support on a monthly basis, probably our $13 support from folks like Brent Hasty and Gary Bradford, and support from other folks like Jackie Sillman. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Gary and Brent. So it looks like very soon this particular traffic hazard won't be a traffic hazard anymore. The tow truck driver checking to make sure that any blocks that he's got under there are secure and aren't going to pop loose on the trip to wherever this camper is taken. There is still a battery active. That's what's causing that light to be lit. And propane tanks are often in campers like this to provide fuel for the propane-powered stoves, heater, refrigerator, water heater. And it looks as though the cones are coming out of the way here. Tow truck driver checking to make sure that this isn't going to bounce off again. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of moving it back like that was, but CHP directing traffic around this traffic hazard that's been here for at least 2.5 hours. It's 9:01. You're watching Yuba-Sutter.live and Facebook.com live streaming YS, Yuba-Sutter's version of C-SPAN. If you want to know what's going on in Yuba-Sutter government, local government, county boards of supervisors, city council meetings, and planning commissions, other Yuba Water Agency, tune in Tuesdays as we present, with the help of our presenting sponsor, Plumas Lake Self-Storage, local government live streams. So we'll stay with this until they're actually on the road to wherever it is they're going to take this. The tow truck, flatbed truck, is from B&K Towing in Brownsville, which is east of here, up the hill. I don't know if that's where this camper will ultimately go. I don't know if they've been able to get inside to check on how the contents survived. Sliding off the back of a pickup truck as it went through this curve. At Marysville Road and Scott Grant Road. Now it looks like the last cones are coming out of the way, going back to the party that provided them. Looks like that might have been the tow truck operator. Neighbor climbing onto his tractor. And more westbound traffic coming around the downhill corner. And this is what happens when drivers don't pay attention to what's going on. This is the Yuba County Sheriff's Incident Command Center coming down from the Alcoff Center, where the Be Prepared second annual Be Prepared event was happening. That's what we came up here to cover, and passed by this particular camper on the road, slid off of a back end of a pickup truck, and tractor backing away. Looks like the flatbed is getting ready to put itself into motion. We'll see what he wants to do. I think he's trying at least to get out of the road so that traffic can go by in both directions without a problem. Or perhaps he's going to back up the private road here and be able to take the vehicle downhill, down into the valley. We'll see what happens to it. It does look like he's going to try to reverse the direction here. And it looks like CHP is getting ready to get out of the way. Thank you for sticking with us. If you've been with us from the beginning of our live stream an hour and 10 minutes ago. Looks like the tow truck driver is making some last minute checks. And we have a county sheriff. Yep, sheriff's vehicle pulling in here. A little friendly banter between the deputy and the officer as traffic continues to come by as they wrap up getting this now flat-bedded camper ready to travel to wherever its next destination is. Curious to know whether they try to take it up the hill or if it goes down the hill. It's a starry night here in Brownsville in the Yuba County foothills. I don't know if you can see any, but there are stars that are becoming visible as the sky gets darker. I'm guessing it's about 68, 70 degrees. And it looks like our tow truck driver from B&K Towing is climbing back in the cab. And off it goes. Uphill, followed by, we believe, the pickup truck out of which the camper slid. Heading around the corner into the night. And that's what we're going to do. I'm Ted Langdell, and you've been watching a special news Where It Happens, As It Happens broadcast on Yuba-Sutter.live. Follow us, like us, and share. We'd like it if you did that. And turn on notifications so you know when we're live.